rhythm screaming all over the place. Ticker tape dreams and brokers' cries. The rhythm of money electrifies. Bulls charge hard, bears bite back. Profit rides on the railroad track. Buy, 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 watch it rise. Sell, 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 cut the ties. Ding, 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 the bell don't lie. It's a market frenzy under the sky. Ring the alarm, it's a margin call. Leverage breaks, watch the empire fall. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cash machines sing. The sound of greed makes the whole world spin. Buy, 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 watch it rise. Sell, 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 cut the ties. Ding, 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 the bell don't lie. It's a market frenzy under the sky. Ring the alarm, it's a margin call. Leverage breaks, watch the empire fall. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cash machines sing. The sound of greed makes the whole world spin. Screens flashing green and red. Buy low, sell high, that's what they said. But the system's rigged, the dice are loaded. We smashed the game while they corroded. Market mayhem, we're the kings. Trade like rebels, break the strings. Numbers dance, we call the bluff. Cash or crash, we've had enough. Crypto's burning, stocks are falling. Wall Street gods, we hear you calling. But we don't bow, we don't kneel. We flip the charts, we steal the wheel. Up, down, sideways, who cares? We're the sharks, you're the flare. Market mayhem, we're the kings. Trade like rebels, break the strings. Numbers dance, we call the bluff. Cash or crash, we've had enough.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Good morning, and welcome to Good Morning Crypto, where we turn your early hours in the morning into your edge and financial freedom. Today, I've got a few headlines. We talked about the possibility of a South Korea trade deal a little bit earlier this week, and I told you I'd let you know if anything came to fruition on that. Well, it looks like we're seeing something come to fruition. We've also got a few other headlines to talk about. I've been talking about Figma all week, and, today's that IPO day. So we will touch on that just a little bit. I'm definitely going to be doing some buying on that one. And I've got a few other headlines to talk about. But before we get into all of that, You know what I got pulled up. It's that stock heat map. So let's dive on in, get you prepared for some success today. There we go. We got that stock heat map all pulled up. And we saw a little bit of red in the markets yesterday. Jerome Powell not being super positive about some future rate cuts and kind of cut down some of those chances for a rate cut in September. But we'll get to that in just a little bit. We are seeing some light green in the markets this morning. We've got Apple sitting down 1.05% off of its close. Looking to the upside this morning, 0.06%. We've got Nvidia up 2.14% off of its close and up 1.74% this morning. Berkshire Hathaway sitting to the downside, down 0.12 off of its close and down 0.31% this morning. We've got Amazon looking a little bit neutral off of its close, down 0.35%, looking to the upside this morning, 3.21%. So a nice little move in the pre-market this morning. We've got Eli Lilly down 0.38%, looking to the upside this morning, 0.17. We've got ExxonMobil looking to the downside, 0.87% off of its close, down 0.55% this morning. Tesla looking to the downside as well, 0.67 off of its close and down 0.13 this morning. PNG also looking to the downside, 2.38% off of its close and down 2.27 this morning. Microsoft looking in the green, up 0.13 off of its close, up 8.33% in the pre-market right now. We've got Google sitting quite neutral, up 0.51 off of its close, down 0.25 this morning. And we've got Meta also looking a lot like Microsoft, down 0.68 off of its close, up 11.69% in the pre-market right now. Let's hop over to the crypto side of things. There we go. We're looking quite green on these daily bubbles right now. Nothing too crazy except for like H-bar up 7.1%. But for the most part, we've got some nice, decent moves towards the upside. Looking more like some stock pumps. We've got Bitcoin up 0.4%. We've got Ethereum up 2%, XRP up 2.3%, BNB up 1.5%. We've got Solana up 1.7%. We've got Dogecoin up 2.1%. Tron sitting down 2% right now. Cardano up 2%. We've got Hyperliquid up 2.2%. We've got SWI up 4.5% right now. Stellar Lumens up 3.3%. Chainlink up 3.6%. We've got H-bar taking a spot in the market cap from Bitcoin Cash, up 7%, while Bitcoin Cash is up 4%. I don't know why my drivers are trying to update right now. We've got Avalanche up 1.1%. We've got Litecoin taking some spots in that market cap as well, up 2 positions, sitting up 2.5%. We've got TON sitting up 2%, and Leo losing that spot in the market cap, sitting down 0.4%. Let's hop over to those fear and greeds, because we've cooled off quite a bit on the stock market side. Still sitting in some greed, but we are down to 66. This was yesterday's move. And we're looking like we might cool off just a little bit more. We do have some heavy data coming out tomorrow with some more trade deal news. I do think that has a little bit of a hampering on your traditional markets. For the crypto side of things, we're down 2 points, still sitting in some greed though. Let's hop over to those liquidation heat maps, because we still got that liquidity on the top side to grab as we've been moving quite sideways here. Sitting at that $120,000 point is where that liquidity starts, and then coming all the way down to about $119,400. Zooming on out, taking a look at the 3-day and where any explosive moves might take us, looking quite similar to that 1 day. We've got that liquidity starting at $119,400 119,400. The real hot spot coming in at 119,600 and ranging all the way up to that $120,000 mark. Zooming on out, take a look at that 1 week. 1 week looking quite similar to the rest of everything. We've got a lot of liquidity towards the top side. For the 1 week though, that starts at 120,000 and ranges all the way up to about 120,600. Zooming on out just a little bit further here, you can see that this 2 week looks quite similar for the top side as well. So a lot of top side liquidity to really end up grabbing. You have to zoom it on out, take a look at that 1 month to see that bottom side liquidity, which is residing back down there at 113,000. We'll kind of have to see if we can grab all of this top side liquidity. But if we do get some of that data coming out a little bit hot today, might not grab it just yet. Let's take a look at that economic calendar and then hop into the chats. We've got quite a few people in here this morning and a few people over on X. X was on fire yesterday with my Wall Street Weekly stream. We had over 200 people there, so I appreciate X doing its thing. Let's scroll it on down because we don't get any data out of the United States until 8:30 this morning. That's going to be that core PCE price index month over month and year over year. We've also got employment cost benefits month over month, employment cost wages month over month, and the employment cost index month over month, or quarter over quarter for all those. Definitely looking like we might see a little bit of that data coming in hot. That forecast on the month over month is up 0.1% from 0.2%. So definitely heading in the wrong direction on that, especially after Jerome Powell was just talking about how inflation is remaining above that 2% target. This is definitely not the metrics you want to see if you're looking for a rate cut. Scrolling on down a little bit further, we got some more PCE data coming out at that same time frame, that PCE price index month over month and year over year. This is the non-core. The non-core looking to heat up a little bit more as well. That forecast was 0.3% after a 0.1% prior, so a little bit more of an increase on the non-core. And the year over year on the non-core price PCE index is looking quite a bit hotter as well, 2.3% and forecasted to come at 2.5%. So some more metrics saying that inflation rates are quite sticky here. Personal income month over month and personal spending month over month looking to have increased just a little bit here, but I don't think that negates any of the PCE data. Scrolling on down a little bit further, we get some data coming out at that Asia trading time frame. Going to be that Caxton manufacturing PMI data coming out of China, a small decrease there, and some data coming out of the rest of that area as well. All going to be some PMI data looking like you might see a continued sell-off if this data comes in a little bit hot. We do have a slowdown on that, so not the metrics you really want to see on your producer side. Let's hop over to that Bitcoin chart. Say good morning to everyone. We've got quite a few people in here. Kellephant was first. She said, are we starting to get a little bit bearish here? Well, we've talked about some lower levels on Bitcoin for quite a while, and we came really close to getting into some of those prices yesterday. So we will kind of have to see if this is another lower high here, which we had talked about before, making that a little bit of a lower high, moving a little bit sideways, and then getting that sweep down towards some bottom side liquidity, which pretty much exactly what happened there. We got Crypto Billy in the chats this morning. Good morning to you, sir. We've got Jessica Luck in here. Good morning. We've got let's scroll on down. Jay Violet in here. Good evening to you. Hope you've had an amazing day. Let's scroll on down. Kate Diggity coming on in here saying good morning, crypto family. Good morning to you, sir. Hope you've had a great day. Time that on just about perfect. Back with my coffee and ready for some BC. Well, that music kind of helps out with that timing. So glad you made it here in time for the real part of the show. We've got JR in here saying good morning to everyone. Good morning to you, sir. Scrolling on down, see if we got anything else. Apple earnings tomorrow, says Caliphant. Yep, we've had quite a bit of some stock earnings this week. That's why you saw a little bit of a pump this morning off of Microsoft and off of Meta as well. They definitely hit those earnings, and they've been moving towards the upside off of it. Scrolling on down, see if we got anyone else. Kanamima, thoughts on Black. Just started using AVAX and Black DeFi pool. Well, I can take a look at the chart a little bit later and see what we're looking at there. If you got any other alt requests, go ahead, throw them in the chat for me. Let's see. We got Dylan VA in here saying late to the party. Well, better late than never, Dylan VA. Glad you are here this morning. Let's see. We got anyone else in here? Not looking like it. So, good morning to all you lurkers in the background. I see a few of you back there. And good morning to everyone on X. If you have any alt requests, go ahead, throw them in the chat, and we'll get to those in just a little bit. Scrolling on out on this Bitcoin chart here, taking a look at the daily, we're looking quite similar to what we've looked at all week. We're seeing a little bit of sideways momentum come in, but that doesn't mean we don't continue to cool off on the daily. We do need some cool off if we want to get some continued pump here, and we have been making these lower highs. As you zoom it on out a little bit more, there we go, making these lower highs throughout all of this, getting those nice little liquidity sweeps. But here's that potential higher low that we had talked about at the beginning of the week after we swept some of that top side liquidity, and we said that bottom side liquidity was a little bit higher. If we could hold this fair value gap here, we could see that move back up above $120,000. Looking like we're sitting in a decent little zone to at least get back above that $120,000 mark and grab some of that top side liquidity. But I don't think these daily oscillators are really cooled off enough to make some moves higher than that. You do see your money flow pretty in the green here on the daily, but you're getting a little bit of some slowdown on that as your volume continues to remain quite steady here. But it has started to see a little bit of a slowdown on the daily, but nothing too crazy. We do have that sideways momentum on the MACD and the prime oscillator here, but we would need to see that money flow coming on in with some strength on that shorter term time frame. Zooming on in, taking a look at that 4 hour here. We've got that 4 hour looking like you've got a little bit of some room for a top side liquidity grab. You do have that prime oscillator sitting in the light red, but that money flow just got in the green here as your volume remains a little bit low, but nothing too crazy on the slowdown of volume. So we are trying to wait to see if we can at least hold this 118,200 this morning and then get that continued push towards the upside here. Your MACD line is remaining above our indicator line, and we're getting that break above our zero line as well. Not looking anything too crazy on that sideways momentum for it. So looking like if we can get that money flow bleeding over from our shorter term time frame into this 4 hour, we can definitely see a little bit of some pushing up towards the upside. That would be a higher low and then a higher high, and might push towards a reversal of trend and less sideways momentum in this range. We'll just kind of have to watch that money flow. Taking a look at the 1 hour here. 1 hour does look like you might see that bouncing action we were talking about on the 4 hour. You've got your MACD and prime oscillator a little bit overheated here. Get that zoomed on out. We did have a reversal signal that flashed from back here. Got that move back to the top side of our fair value gap, an area we talk about over and over. And then we got that push off of it, and we're looking to potentially grab some top side liquidity here. You do have your MACD and prime prime oscillator with a little bit of curvature here, a hidden divergence as well. Money flow in the red, so that's what we're going to have to watch here. We've got your volume holding quite steady, and we're just waiting to see if we can get that switch from the money flow that is barely in the red to in the green, and that would give us that little curve back up here, and we could continue on the way towards the upside. We do have the 15-minute and the morning looking like you might see a little bit of some upside movement as you're getting that curvature on your prime oscillator and MACD as well, and money flow in the green, but that volume has slowed up quite a bit, so you might see us start bumping up against some of these higher levels at $19,000, and then see if we can get that nice bouncing action off of 18,200 and then continue on to the upside there, as it is very easy for this to get overheated all over again on the 15-minute and see those reversal signals start flashing. We're not getting those reversal signals off of very big moves towards the upside here on the 15-minute, so seeing us bump up against that after we push up another $300 would not be too unexpected. Fair value gap at a gap between the high of one candle and the low of the subsequent candle, or vice versa on a candlestick chart. Yes, Billy, that is how we pull those fair value gaps. I can zoom it on out, show y'all how I pulled that one. That was a daily fair value gap here. Oh, I guess it was not a daily fair value gap. It was a 4-hour fair value gap. Sitting from the wick on this candle and looking like we had, I guess that must have been an hourly. Yep, it was the hourly there. Big hourly fair value gap here, sitting from the wick off that candle and the wick off this red candle above it. So this is that area that we got no price movements on, and we're waiting to kind of see what happens in that price range. We did get a little bit of a touch off of the midline here, which happens quite a bit, and then we got that continued move towards the upside. We are holding the top side as some support, so we're really waiting to see what happens in that area. Let's see, Jesse Gluck saying coffee is magical. I have had no coffee this morning. It was a little bit rough after my dinner last night, and the stomach could not have handled that. Can you look at the SPY or the NASDAQ? What's more influential? Well, I mean, it really just depends what kind of sector of the market you're looking at. They cover a little bit of some different sectors, but they do have some overlappings on the stocks. So if you're looking for some production side of things, I would look at the NASDAQ. If you're looking for just in general and a little more tech heavy, I would look at the S&P 500. Let's see what everyone else is saying. Man, you guys must be exhausted. Normally, I work 12-hour days. Jesse Gluck is always up when I'm up, so he must be pretty tired as well. And then JR does the same thing. That man is always up and always doing something. Let's hop over to some of those news articles we had talked about and then talk about what Jerome Powell was talking about yesterday. We've got Strategy buys $2.4 billion worth of Bitcoin using the preferred stocks proceeds. This was those stocks that I had talked about last week, how we would see some stocks with dividends offered by Michael Saylor, 10% yield on those, and he sold quite a bit of some stocks with those dividends, and he bought $2.4 billion worth of Bitcoin off of it. Not going to dive too far into that article because there's not really a whole lot to talk about. The headline really says it all, and if you've been watching Good Morning Crypto, then you knew this was coming. Hopping on over to this article, though. Donald Trump announces a pre-deadline trade pact with South Korea. We did bring up the potential for this South Korea trade deal, and it looks like they came in just under the wire. And looks like they're going to be building some shipping parts here in America. President Donald Trump on Wednesday said a new trade agreement with South Korea includes a set 15% tariff on exports to the United States. Trump shared the news in a statement on a Truth Social post, framing the agreement as a major win for American industry and energy producers. He also said that newly elected South Korean President Lee Jae-myung is expected to visit the White House in August. South Korea is Asia's fourth largest economy and a staunch U.S. ally. Some 28,000 U.S. troops are based there, so a trade deal could help bolster the key alliance. Trump's unveiled sweeping import taxes on goods coming into the U.S. from nearly every country in April, sending global markets in panic. Most of these tariffs have since been postponed twice, allowing time for bilateral negotiations. In early July, Trump began sending out letters telling countries that higher tariffs would be imposed on dozens of them on August 1st. Trump announced the deal with South Korea shortly after its finance minister Koo Yun-cheol and other top negotiators met the president in an effort to finalize an agreement before Friday. We have agreed to a tariff for South Korea of 15%, and Americans will not be charged a tariff, Trump wrote on Truth Social. As part of the deal, South Korea has committed to purchasing $100 billion in U.S. energy exports and allocating $350 billion for investments that Trump said would be owned and controlled by the United States and selected by myself as president. And that was looking like he'd be doing some investing into shipping goods. So that's something I got my eye on. Let's hop over to what Jerome Powell was talking about yesterday, because he didn't say a whole lot, but he did say a little. So let's get that pulled up in the background. We saw those federal fund rates holding steady. We had been predicting no cut here on Good Morning Crypto, so that came in quite as we were expecting. We saw the two dissenting governors, Christopher Waller and Michelle Bowman, who voted in favor of a cut. We've got Powell saying that the economic outlook looks unusual, saying the Fed is being pulled in two directions, balancing a strong labor market and a market that has inflation remaining above the 2% base target. He affirmed the stance is moderately restrictive. Regarding the outlook, Powell made no commitment about a September rate cut, stating, "We have made no decisions about September." He emphasized future moves will be dependent on incoming data and economic outlook and the balance of risks, which is why we will be watching that PCE data heavily here. That is a big metric that the Fed uses to cut rates. What do we got here? Oh, y'all sleeping if I need it. I'm well rested, been sleeping pretty good. Well, that was me yesterday. I think I got something like 10 and a half hours of sleep. It rained, so I knew that I wasn't going to be working, so I just said screw it, and I slept in. I didn't wake up until like 8:30. It was so nice. Let's see. I thought you meant on YouTube, why bra ads, BC? I have no clue. I just get random ads, They don't do a whole lot of tracking of me because I use a VPN. I am a VPN user heavily, and so they don't really have a lot of targeted ads for me. Let's see. Should have cut, but Powell flipping off Trump. They shouldn't have cut though, but you have your inflation remaining at that 2.5% to 2.7% targets. We've been moving quite sideways in that range. We did heat up a little bit more, getting close to 3. You don't cut rates when inflation's going up. You cut rates when inflation's going down. You also have your job market at a very risky point, and that's why you have Jerome Powell saying that they're not looking at cutting right now. Your job market and your inflation rate trying to be balanced. If you start cutting rates, you will see some job numbers going in the right direction, but you'd also see inflation really heat up and go in the wrong direction a little bit faster, which is what we saw when we got that 50 basis point rate cut at the very beginning of our rate cutting cycle. And it kind of screwed us for any future rate cuts. So I've just been waiting for those metrics to really line up. We saw all of this happening over in Europe when they started cutting their rates. They cut extremely quickly. They did it back to back to back, had a few big rate cuts. And then you saw them sit still for a while and wait for those metrics to really line up. They were ahead of us. They are ahead of us in the rate cutting cycle. And that's kind of what we saw happen there. We saw it happen in the UK as well. We saw it happen in Canada as well. They were all ahead of us in the rate cutting cycle. And then they really, really had to slow that on down as the metrics were starting to head in the wrong direction. You saw the labor market getting hit a little bit hard in Canada. So all of these were kind of expected if you watched what happened with the rest of the world. Everyone's been trying to get back to that 2% target after all of that COVID stuff. But when you print trillions of dollars and then inject it into the system, you're going to see inflation be a little bit sticky, and getting back to that 2% target is going to be a little bit difficult. Let's hop over to TradingView, take a look at some of what we've been looking at here. We did see our virtuals play not really play out at all. We entered back the other day at $1.38. We got taken out way down here at $1.32. Not a massive loss, but it did prevent all of the rest of this loss. I had a stop loss that was put into place. We missed out on all of that big loss. We got that nice big bounce off of the golden pocket there, something that we weren't really expecting. We were expecting that $1.38 to really hold up, and all of those alts really got crapped on. So we are back at that entry point. Might be the potential to make some moves now. Let's zoom it on out. Take a look at that 4 hour there. 4 hour looking like you could potentially see some pump action, but you need to see this money flow head in the other direction here. We do have some reversal signals that have flashed, a bullish divergence as well, but that money flows very, very in the red here. JR saying blame Canada. No, I'm just going off of the Canadian data that we had seen. I'm going off of the UK data we had seen. I'm going off of the European Union data we had seen, where they were ahead of us in our rate cutting cycle, and it gave us just a little bit of a metric to kind of watch for. Degree in finance and economics, just my opinion, but traditional views should be set aside. Housing is becoming a problem due to 2%. 2% is arbitrary. Should hand cut before due to lag. And I mean, 2% has always been an arbitrary target. It's just a rate of theft that they can get away with, because if you kind of take into account 2% is a tax on top, because inflation does end up being a tax on people. But when you have them actually basing things off of an arbitrary 2% target that they want to meet, they're having a higher degree of theft of your value right now. So it's an arbitrary target, and it always has been. It is based off of the Keynesian theory that none of it matters. We're all going to be dead anyway, so you can just print more money, which then again decreases the value of your dollar. But that's not what they're concerned about. They're concerned about the appearance, and the appearance is all garbage. You do have the housing market. It has been quite stagnant. You do see slow growth in the housing sector. You have more houses on the market than at any time since 2019, but none of those houses are selling. So yes, they are seeing a little bit of stagnation in certain areas. I don't think cutting's really gonna give us that boom though, as you're seeing your job markets remain a little bit strong. But the inflation remaining a little bit stickier than they wanted. It's all just arbitrary when we talk about a 2% target. I will bring you on and we can debate, BC, all love, and or on CCM. I would love to do that. I love hearing differing opinions. I'm pretty strong in my conviction on what I think is going to happen. But to hear those different viewpoints of someone that's also been around a little bit longer than I have is always glad to hear. And then you get to hear the whole reasoning behind everything as well. But the 2%, your opinion is worth millions, Billy. Don't say that about yourself. Positivity, says JR. And I have to agree. Just because I disagree with some of what you say about we should be cutting has nothing to do about my thoughts on the actual cutting. It has to do with my thoughts on how they run everything. Yes, cutting would be absolutely positive for the economy, but you've got a lot that's up in the air, and we dumped trillions into the economy, and that's going to cause inflation to be a little bit more rampant. The 2% target has always been arbitrary, and if you really want to get into it, we can have that debate about the 2% target, because I think that is an absolutely garbage metric that should never been have put in place to begin with. But let's hop into some of these alt requests that we had. We had black requested. We can try to find that one, but this was the one I wanted to bring up because we took that trade. We didn't end up winning on it, but we will look for the next one. We do have this 1 hour also looking a little bit toppy here, so you could see that rejection coming in off of $1.38, and then try to find that bouncing action back here at the lows of $1.33 to really try to cool that off a little bit more, as that money flow still remains in the red here. You've got your 15-minute and the morning also looking a little bit hot. You've got your MACD breaking to the downside, remaining below that indicator line. You've got your prime oscillator with those bearish divergences that are stacked up. Let me get that. There we go. Bearish divergences that have stacked up here with this sideways momentum there. And you've got your prime oscillator, which is still looking to the downside. After that reversal signal really flashed, we've just got that sideways momentum below what was a support area and is now some resistance. So really waiting to see if we can get back to the upside of that target. That's where we might see some strong price action. That's going to be $1.38 and about a half there. If you do black, please do white. Something is happening with white. Well, we can take a look at both of those. Black. Let's get over to those crypto and not all. Let's see. I'm not sure which one, if it is black hole that he was talking about there, but I would assume that that's what he's talking about because that's the only one I really see, unless you're talking about black stallions. So black as in black hole. Let's take a look at black. Let's see on the other one if it's the same. Looking quite similar there as well. A little bit scam wiki, but not too unexpected. I would think that this would have a smaller market cap. Nice strong pump towards the upside though. Let's get a fib line pull, some fib lines pulled up here from the lows to our highs all the way up there. Nice big pump, big sell off afterwards though, holding that golden pocket quite nicely and looking like we're trying to get back above the 50% line here. Might not have that exactly on point, so that might have been a 50 rejection. Let's see there. Unlock, get that on the lows a little bit better. There we go, and then lock it, and let's get that moved on over. Looking like it's quite similar, but losing that 50% line on our fibs, but trying to make that higher low here and get our move back towards the upside. 4-hour does look like you have the potential to get a little bit of some pump action to the upside. BC is an equal opportunity employer. Oh yeah, I do my best here. You know, I can't neglect the people that look like me, or the people that don't look like me. As long as you bring some value to the team, then you are a member of the team. And that's how I view it. What is your actual value that you bring, and not what does the color of your skin look like? Because that is very, very unimportant. I would rather you be a good person than a person that looks like me. So let's take a look at this 1 hour. 1 hour does have the potential for some pump up above this 50% line. Your prime oscillator moving a little bit sideways. Your MACD and your indicator line very, very equal here, getting a little bit of sideways momentum, and that MACD getting some curvature back towards the upside after a little bit of some bouncing action off of that indicator line. So we'll kind of have to see if we can get that continuation with some money flow. Volume is a little bit muted here on the 1 hour, so we'll kind of have to see if this 15-minute can bleed over into the morning. Looking a little bit hot here, so seeing a little bit of some sideways momentum underneath our 50% line would not be something unexpected to see. This does get some big body candle moves here, as you can see on the 15-minute, creates big fair value gaps. Never really came back and tested this one. So if you don't hold up all of these areas, that's an area to kind of watch for at 0.8723. That's the bottom side of that fair value gap there. We closed out this one quite nicely with that nice little wick in action there before we got this nice sideways momentum. But with that sideways momentum, this 15-minute is getting a little bit hot here. You could potentially see that reversal signal coming on in at the 50% line. Let's take a look at white. All right, white USD. So White Rock is what I'm guessing it is there. We'll take a look at this one, see what we're looking at. A little bit scam wiki there as well. Let's get that zoomed on out. It looks like it's a little bit of a fair value gap towards the top side. Let's get that pulled on up here on that higher term time frame. We did get some nice moves into it, but we're looking like we're seeing that bottom side being a resistance area. Let's get the box pulled up here, going off of our wick and our wick. So got that pulled on up and got that one pulled on up. Adjust it a little bit more. There we go. And make that purple, because that's what we color our fair value gaps here. Get that colored in because it is not closed. Actually saw that rejection coming in off of the bottom side of that. We'll kind of have to see what we're looking at on a fib level here. Got that pulled from the highs to the lows, looking like we're below that 236. Might need to find a shorter time one, as we look like we're making a secondary low here that is higher than our last low. So let's get that fib pulled up on the shorter term time frame, see what we're looking at. Looking like that 236 there is also a resistance area we have failed to get above. We did get some nice wick in action all the way up to the 382, which is also right around the bottom side of that fair value gap. Might need to adjust that just a little bit. There we go. Coming in, there we go. Bottom side coming in almost exactly on that fair value gap there. Let's get that zoomed on in. Take a look, because this 1 hour could continue to pump towards the upside if you do get that nice little money flow coming on in and get that curvature back towards the upside. BC, have you cleared out your attic for me so we can start degenerating the attic YouTube series? Well, but there's nothing in the attic. So if you don't mind dying in 120-degree heat, then you can definitely get on in. But I gotta warn you, it's like 120, 130 degrees up there, because It's been quite hot here in Nebraska. It's 68 right now, but it's been hundreds, feeling like 110 this whole week. So I don't envy where you're trying to live. So you have fun there, sir. Sounds like a definite degen move. We would need to get above this 236 here on white and then get that movement back towards the upside here. You've got some very strong selling wicks up at that 382, so that 382 is also going to be a resistance area to watch. That's 0006, and this 236 coming in at 0005045. So that's going to be that first resistance area to really get above and see money flow coming in on the top side of. You see your prime oscillator heading back towards the upside, but getting a little bit of sideways momentum here. MACD also heading back towards the upside, but getting that little bit of some sideways momentum. Waiting to see if we can get some more sideways momentum underneath this 236 and really cool that off a little bit more there. We do have the 15-minute and the morning looking a little bit hot as well as we remain below that 236, that prime oscillator, getting those reversal signals that have flashed. Let me get it moved over. Reversal signals that have flashed, a bearish divergence, getting that curve over as well, and that volume just starting to come back in, but looking like that volume is not selling or buying pressure, just seeing a lot of battles here. So looking like you're trying to get above the 236 but really failing to do so, but at least holding the bottom side quite nicely here. Let's get that horizontal drawn out that we don't want to see broken. That's going to be the bottom side here where we see all of those candle bodies coming into play. Get that locked, make that a shorter term time frame. You see all of the bouncing action off of that, and that 236 being resistance, so at least moving in the sideways area to cool off those oscillators just a little bit on both your hourly and your 15-minute will be what I would watch for, as you've held that quite nicely, and then get above our 236 and try to get back up to the 382 there. White looking like you've got quite a bit of volatility here, but those highs and those lows are pretty cemented as it moves in those sideways ranges. So just waiting to kind of see if you can get that money flow across the markets. Let's hop it on over to that solo screen because it's about time to wind the show on down. I do believe we have one more Markets After Dark with Lunar Beaches Crypto. Make sure to tune in tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Give that man a great send-off from the Piper Academy. We have appreciated all of the work that he does here. I'm really sorry to see him go, but I do understand that family comes first. And you might, after he has his baby, see him make a few appearances on Good Morning Crypto all over again. So hopefully everything goes well with that venture. If you're not following him on his channel, we will get that shared out tomorrow. Don't have that saved here because he hadn't been doing a whole lot on his channel. We also have Trading with OC at 8 p.m. If you like to trade, that is the place to be. That man is a wizard on the charts, so we appreciate all the work that he does as well. We've also got that morning market report at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. That's going to be the place to be when you need the breakdown of all of that data. We do have a little bit of data that's coming out today, so if you want the breakdown of the PCE data that we're getting this morning, tune in to that morning market report at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. I appreciate you dropping that link in the chat for me, Jesse. Go ahead, click that, and follow Lunar Beaches Crypto. He will be doing all of his streaming over there. OG hookup is going to be amazing. LBC and BC. Yes, I'm hoping that he has a few of those mornings where he's up extra early and he can hop on the show. So we will see y'all at the next one. Make sure to trade safe. we're going to find something today to really take a look at for tomorrow that we can take a trade on together, because that last one didn't pan out and we're seeing more sideways momentum. So we're really waiting on some cool off and then watching some money flow. I do think PCE data coming in a little bit hot might give you a little bit of some dampening, but you could also see that come in at forecast and everyone thinks it's bullish. So just make sure to trade safe today and wake up, because today's going to be a good day.